All right, everyone, let's get started. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Chamber Connect event. Today's topic is Untapped Workforce Solutions. It's part of our talent takeover series where we talk about workforce and talent recruitment and retention related items. So welcome to today's event. I'm Cecilia Harry, and I am Chief Economic Development Officer here at the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC. We're going to be here until 1 p.m. today, and it's an interactive session, so we really encourage you to ask questions. Please use the chat feature to post your questions at any time. You can either direct it to everyone or to Emma Mitchell on our staff, and we will be able to ask those questions in the order that they are received at the end of the session. We're also recording the presentation, and it will be available to the public to view later this week. A couple items for housekeeping for us. We have a Chamber Connect coming up on April 6th, also in our Talent Takeover series, related to the state of Colorado's talent pipeline and equity agenda. So please tune into that as well. It will have a wealth of information related to resources and data about what we have going on in terms of workforce scenarios and solutions here with our partners at the state of Colorado. We're also in the middle of an economic development strategic plan refresh, and we have a community-wide survey that is going out. And we would really appreciate it if you would consider filling that out. And I'll put a link to that survey here in the chat feed. And if you could take a few moments to fill that out in the coming days and share with your networks, we would really appreciate that. We're interested in hearing from the business community, from community partners, and even from the general public and the citizens that help us fuel our economic development activity with workforce and various support. So now moving on to today's topic, again, untapped workforce sources. I'm just going to share a couple statistics before I introduce everyone to get us thinking. So there's lots of studies out there about difficulty with hiring with open positions. And a lot of studies out there are saying anywhere from 65 to 83% of business owners and hiring managers are having difficulty filling those open positions. And that's very consistent with what we're hearing when we're out and about listening to our existing business community in Colorado Springs. Also, workers with disabilities represent about 3% of total workers in the United States, but make up 26% of the total population. And in Colorado, 21% of adults have a disability. And the number one barrier impacting people with disabilities from obtaining successful employment is implicit bias, according to the Society for Human Resource Management. And then depending on the source of the survey, because there's a lot out there as well, between 60 and 70% of undergraduate interns are offered full-time positions after graduation because of their connections from their internship experience. And approximately 3,600 people are in community corrections on a given day in the state of Colorado. So our panel today will be touching on these populations and others in terms of untapped workforce solutions. So we'd like to welcome everyone on our panel today. So joining us today, and also our fearless facilitator, we have Meghan Stidd with UCCS. Welcome, Meghan, and thank you. We also have Erica Romero with Pikes Peak Workforce Center, Mark Wester with ComCor, and Ryan Campbell with the Colorado Department of Vocational Rehab. We've got a lot to pack into the next 55 minutes or so let's turn it over to Meghan and get started.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. And I love that I see some familiar faces on this call today. It's great to see all of you. Those who have not met me, my name is Meghan Stidd. I'm the Assistant Dean for External Relations at the UCCS College of Business. So in my role, I oversee a variety of departments in the college, but I also oversee our Career Services Department, which is the one that is most pertinent to today's conversation. So helping connect students to opportunities in the business community and vice versa. So I'm really excited to share with you some of the opportunities we have for you to use UCCS as a recruitment source for you. And we have campus-wide over 12,000 students on campus. So we have a lot of opportunities if you're looking for college students or recent college grads grads at a variety of levels. We have undergrad, master, and PhD level programs. So whatever your needs are, we have students to help you meet those. I'm going to go ahead and let the panel introduce themselves. So our first question, we have a series of questions for our panelists. And this first question, please just introduce yourself, give an overview of your organization, and then just a brief overview of the population you serve. So to get us started, Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mark Wester. I'm Executive Director of ComCor Inc. here in El Paso County. We are a private non-for-profit community corrections program. We house residential. We are a residential program, meaning that clients who are coming out of prison or clients who are coming out of the court system and diverted to us before they go to prison or to avoid prison, we provide accountability and housing for them as they serve their sentences and get back on their feet, trying to recover after being involved with the justice system. We have capacity for about 300 individuals, and we have about 260 at any given time. 70% of our population have jobs out in the community. And that's really what I wanted to highlight today. They have a vast experience base. Many of our clients, about 20% of our clientele are women. The rest, 80%, are male. And I would tell you that a lot of our clients that we serve have skills in trades, from construction to electrical and plumbing, automotive and mechanic services, and even some IT skills and management skills. I interface with a lot of our clients, and they work in a lot of different environments. Like I said, 70% of our population currently have jobs out in the community, but they are always looking for jobs and looking for good jobs. So that's a little bit about ComCor and our population, and it's good to be with you.
Thank you, Mark. Ryan, I'm going to go with you next. Please share about your organization.
Hi, my name is Ryan Campbell, and I'm the Business Outreach Specialist for the State of Colorado with the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, or DVR. At DVR, we believe that all people with disabilities can choose a career path leading to meaningful employment and independent living, and that anyone with a disability who wants to work can work, regardless of the type or severity of their disability. Through this belief, we seek to be a resource and partner, not only to those we serve, but also to the business needs in our communities. And because of this, we strive to continuously improve our efforts and practices through active collaboration with the people we serve, their families, businesses, and other national, state, and local organizations. So counselors work with job seekers who have a documented mental, physical, and/or developmental disability to connect them with appropriate resources and develop a plan for employment. As their counterpart, my customers are businesses, and I work to support workforce, EDI, and retention goals for companies at no cost to them. So we work to connect them to a large and untapped pool of candidates, largely overlooked by a lot of recruiters. Here in the US, like we heard, 1 in 5 people are living with a disability. That's about 20% of job seekers, many of them with broad and diverse range of skills and experiences and passions. We really want to make sure that Colorado businesses have access to the best candidates out there and that they're a good fit. So we can always help with that transition from candidate to new employee. We also come in as experts on disability in the workplace and are more than happy to educate or consult HR and management teams. We strive to change the stigma many of us have about disability in the workplace and transform it into one that's better for all of us. Lastly, we also support employee retention, helping to solve any barriers they might be experiencing, preventing employees from having success in their roles. At the end of the day, DVR is here for businesses. We're a free asset and a valuable community partner, connecting, collaborating, and supporting our communities. We've partnered with Fortune 500 companies, local small businesses, chains, and every enterprise in between. We'd love to learn about your company and your needs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Appreciate that. Erica, I'm going to go over to you now. Please share about your organization.
All right, so my name is Erica Romero, and I am the Business Relations Team Lead at the Pikes Peak Workforce Center. Pikes Peak Workforce Center is part of the American job system. And so those are located throughout the whole United States. So no matter where you're located, there will be an American job center. And what we do is we cover El Paso and Teller County. So we actually have two kind of different sides. We have our business team, but we also have our job seeker side. So the job seekers that we serve, it can be anywhere from in school to out of school youth. We have transitioning military, people that are maybe looking to start their first career versus people that are maybe ready to start their third or fourth career. But the whole goal of the Workforce Center as a whole is to make sure that we kind of match those up. So we want to make sure that we have the capability to train, hire, and retain a workforce in the Pikes Peak region. We are supported through some different federal funding to help provide training, but we also have services that help recruit and hire job seekers for businesses as well. So we are excited to be here.
Thank you, Erica. And we have one last panelist on the call with us today. Bob, thank you for joining us. Can you share a little bit about yourself and your organization, please?
Thanks, Megan. Sorry I was late to the party. Happy.
We're just glad you're here.
Yes, awesome. Glad to be here. Bob Gemignani, representing the community of schools K through 12 talent pipeline initiative called the Pikes Peak Business and Education Alliance. Our mission is to connect students' talents, interests, and aptitudes to the world of work. Really, I sit here on a panel with other people who are kind of representing, in my mind, different swim lanes of workforce development. We are completely focused on the K through 12 landscape in our community to help combine multiple school systems in our small community of Colorado Springs and help have meaningful interaction with business and industry. So what we mean by our mission, connecting students' talents, interests, and aptitudes to the world of work, is we've created some tools and platforms that make it easier for industry partners to speak into the lives of the next generation workforce that's progressing through K through 12. In our area, that's about 120,000 students that are your next generation of workers. So our platform provides meaningful tools and opportunities for businesses to work with us to create experiential learning opportunities for students in classrooms such as site visits, job shadows, and internships to help train the next generation employees that you'll be having at your businesses. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. So as you can see, we have a very wide range of resources for you here today, different organizations that serve a very diverse population. And so hopefully there's got to be at least one or two of these organizations that are going to be able to help you with your talent needs. So we're going to move on to our next question. So for our panelists, the question is, what are the requirements for a company to work with you? And I'm going to mix it up a little bit. And Ryan, we're going to start with you, please.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, really, we can work with any business that wants to work with us. So there's not really a whole lot that would ever discount a business from working with us. So just a willingness to be open to the process and to expanding sort of their understanding of what a qualified candidate would be.
Great. Thank you. Erica, how does an organization need to work with the Pikes Peak Workforce Center?
So we will actually work with all businesses. One of the things that we do ask all businesses to do is to create a connectingcolorado.com account. And what that will do is it will allow you to gain access to our different business services that are, again, prepaid with your business taxes. So all of the services are at no cost. And those services are really focused on recruiting. So we can host job fairs, you can post positions. You can actually, if you're planning on hiring, we can actually pull labor market information. We can actually provide free assessments. And then for training, we do offer internships, apprenticeships, and then on the job learning as well. So to receive all of those full services, you do need to be a W-2 employer. But if you are not a W-2 employer, we will still actually help you as much as we can, and we'll connect you with any resources that will meet your needs.
Great, thank you. Bob, how about you? What do organizations need to work with you?
The only requirement we have is that you don't burn our kids with cigarettes if they come do career connected learning with you. Just kidding. We'll work with any employer that has a commercial business address who is willing to donate their time and talent. There's no fees for our business partners to participate in our initiative. We do go through a short onboarding process with our employers just to make sure that they're, operating, commercially, not working from a home address, so that we can make sure we're putting, minor students into the workplace in a safe way.
Great, thank you, Bob. And I'll piggyback off what Bob said for UCCS, because we're actually very similar. We have a vetting process for all of our businesses. So we'll work with any company that's looking to hire college students or recent alumni. We just do a full background check on our companies to make sure you're operating legally and that you don't have, any kind of like we had, I'll give you an example of a company that we had to decline. It was an accounting firm that had some violations with the State Board of Accountancy. So we partner with the Better Business Bureau, and they will fully vet organizations. If you are accredited by the Better Business Bureau, then we skip the vetting process and you're automatically approved. And if not, we do a vetting process on our end. But as long as everything looks good and you're operating ethically and legally in the state of Colorado, we have a platform similar to the Pikes Peak Workforce Center, but we use Handshake, and it's our job board platform, and that's where you would post your positions through Handshake, and we're happy to help you every step along the way. And there's nothing you need to do for the vetting process other than create a Handshake account and request to work with us, and then we'll do the vetting process on our end. And if there's any questions or concerns along the way, we'll reach out to you for clarification, and then you'll get a determination of whether or not you're approved to post positions with the university. And lastly, Mark, I'm going to go to you. And what do organizations need to work with ComCor?
Well, good afternoon again, and thank you. We're very easy to work with. If you're interested in working with us, please reach out to me directly. And what we will do is we will provide information about and leads to our clients that may fit. And a lot of times our clients already have a verbal network that they use to find jobs in the community. So we're always looking to expand the number of businesses that we know about and that can that we can be a resource for. We do look for clients to have some flexibility because many of them have behavioral or treatment requirements. And so they can really, we have clients that work overnight and around the clock, but some flexibility is helpful to our clients. And then W-2 employment is preferable because that's part of our process of supporting them, getting on their feet and being able to validate the actual employment services. We do reach out and have contact with the employers that employ our clients on an ongoing basis. And so you will be hearing from our staff periodically. So there is a level of support that goes into it.
Great, thank you, Mark. So now we want to move on, since we know that all of you that are in business can work with any one of our organizations. As you can see, we're all very open to working with any type of business or organization in our community. So panelists, we'd like you to share the timeframes or the terms of work, anything that they need to know when they're working with your clients. And I'm going to start this time with Erica. So please share a bit about the time frame in the process.
Yeah, so the interesting thing with the Pikes Peak Workforce Center is there's just general services that customers can access. So if they are looking just to look for a job, again, we have that Connecting Colorado board. And the nice thing with that is it will actually skill match. So what people self-attest to the skills, the certifications that they have, if that's in your job posting, we will actually help candidate source through that process. So for clients, they just need to make sure they have a completed Connecting Colorado account. However, if they are interested in getting training or accessing some other services, they can actually meet one-on-one with a navigator, and they can actually see if they qualify for any federal programs. And that can actually lead to training, internships, on-the-job trainings with that. But clients can also meet with a job coach, and that's really great for people that are transitioning. We know we've had some companies that have had to close, so a lot of people are like, what are my next steps? The job coaches will actually meet with them one-on-one. They'll do kind of resume review, how to job search, how to kind of access those transferable skills. And the same thing with the business. The job seeker just needs a connectingcolorado.com account, and then they gain access to all of these different services. So we always say, if you have somebody that you're interested in, send them down. We do have a temporary location at 1049 North Academy Boulevard, where they can have access and to meet with somebody to kind of determine what would be the best career path.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you, Erica. Bob, how about you? Share a little bit about the timeline, please.
You bet. Thanks for the question. Our initiative uses a talent development tool called the Work-Based Learning Continuum as a primary practice. And what that means is employers or business representatives can engage that continuum almost a la carte, right? So you could make yourself available to host a site tour for a classroom of students, as an example. You can make yourself available to speak to a classroom worth of students, either Zooming in virtually or in person, to talk about your industry or career. Those are pretty low intensity activities that might take an hour or 2 hours out of a day. We also have a virtual digital sessions that we now make available. There's actually quite a few people on this call who have participated in that particular activity, where we record your career interview and make that digital content available to students. That would be about a 1 hour investment of your time that has the potential to impact hundreds, if not thousands, of students in our community and help affect their career decision-making based on your personal experiences. And then from there, we go into job shadows, where a student would spend about 2 hours with an employer host, kind of in an observation and asking questions. And then last but not least, there's a 60-hour internship for students to be hosted at local businesses during a particular semester for student elective course credit. So if you move to an internship status where you're sponsoring something like that for a student, it's going to be a bit more work, but we'll meet you where you can meet us, whether it's an hour investment in your time, or 2 or 4 or 60. Yeah, we'll allow you to engage us where you can. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Bob. Mark, we'll go over to you. What's the timeline for ComCor?
Sure. Our clients come to us, and our average stay is anywhere from 6 to 12 months while they're here. And when they get here, one of the first things that they're focused on, our clients are focused on, is finding a job in the community. And so they are going out every day and looking for work. We have a case management team that supports them in finding leads and networking with employers and encouraging them, helping them with resumes, those kind of things. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have many of our clients have a treatment program that they are involved in. And so flexibility in hours is helpful sometimes for some aspects of our population. But like I said, they have also worked around the clock, work overnights and those kind of things in various industries. So that's really the timeframes involved. And once a client finishes their residential stay with us, they then transition to non-residential. which means they move out into the community, they keep that job that they found while they are with us, and then we continue to provide aftercare and support to them and the employer, really, networking after they leave our residential services. So.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. And Ryan, we'll go to you next. What's the time frame look like for you?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. You know, it really depends on kind of a case-by-case basis. Some individuals will work for a longer period of time, depending on how much training or support they need as part of their progression and their plan for employment. And even after they get hired, sometimes, you know, that support ends at day one. Sometimes it continues to day 121. You know, it's kind of a nice thing that we can really be flexible and support that individual. And alternatively too, even if somebody is already employed, and let's say they're having trouble in a business, you know, the business can always come to us and say, you know, we're having some difficulty, and we can come in and support that individual and help try to find a solution that would prevent them from exiting the company and continue to be employed and increase their fit in the company. So case by case basis.
Great. And so I'll share with UCCS, I mean, our time frame, we're pretty flexible with employers. So we try to think about what your business needs are and what time frame is going to work best for you. So we have employers that post throughout the year for internships or full-time experiences for our alumni or whatever, recent grads, whatever really works best for you. I will say the success of those postings we have more students that are looking for employment right at our graduation dates. So, you know, May for our spring grads, August for our summer grads, and then December for our fall grads. So if you're trying to look for recent college graduates, posting your position a couple months before those commencement dates are very helpful. If you're looking for interns, posting a few weeks before the semester starts is typically when students are looking for internships into about the first month of the semester. But you can post at any time, and we do have students that will apply, but you'll get a better pool if you kind of think about it in an academic term. If a student is earning academic credit for an internship experience, so students don't have to earn academic credit for their internship, but if they are, they typically need to earn or complete at least 150 hours in a semester of experience. So they can do more, but it's typically 150 hours at least of work experience within that semester. But if you're trying to hire grad students or alumni, there's all kinds of flexibility with those. But for our undergrad students, we have a little more of a strict timeline. But basically, if you have a need and you want to recruit from UCCS, you can just connect with me. We'll talk about what the need is for your company, and then we'll come up with the best recruitment plan to help you with your individual goals and help you target certain students, and then talk about a timeline as well. So now we wanted to move on and talk a little bit about training and what training we provide to different populations. So to start, we're going to talk about panelists, what trainings you have for your clients. And so in this instance, we want to focus on the job seekers, right? What trainings do you offer those who are looking for employment? And Bob, I'm going to go to you to start this time.
Thank you. Good question. So clearly in K through 12, the training generally perceived by the public would be academics, right? Students are getting immersed in their coursework, math, science, language, social studies, sciences. But there's a lane of K through 12 education that some people might not be familiar with called career and technical education. For some of the more senior citizens on the call, like myself, this is kind of the next gen of vocational education back in the day, where students would be immersed in a wood shop or metal shop or home ec. But these days, career technical education is a really solid pathway to career. Some examples of career tech education programming include manufacturing technology, construction technology, computer science, cybersecurity and information technology, biomedical science. So there's dozens of career tech ed pathways that students, as they move from middle school to high school, are basically volunteering to follow that pathway in their elective coursework. So they're sort of moving into these career occupational swim lanes as they're moving through high school, which is really an ideal fit for providing some wraparound career connected learning for those students with those industry partners that these students may end up landing being employed by. So we think there's just great alignment with Career Tech Ed, but we're serving all students in our K through 12 system.
Thank you, Bob. Mark, we're going to move over to you, please.
Okay, we provide, like I mentioned, case management support and supported employment skills really for our clients. We really focus on trying to get them ready to go to an interview. We might talk them through it. You know, in terms of actual technical skills, many of our, like I mentioned, many of our clients have a vast experience in the trades, and some are more management focused and worked in call centers. And so many of them already have some skills and are ready to work. We just try to support them and connect them with potential employers. And so that's really the focus. We're working on developing more of a supported employment training model and hope to do that in the future. But right now we're primarily focused on helping them get employed and those basic skills relative to resumes and interviews. So.
Wonderful, Mark. Thank you. Ryan, would you please share what trainings you offer?
Yeah. So it kind of comes down to what that individual job seeker identified for their plan for employment. It can vary a lot. A lot of the basic and common ones are resume prep, interview prep, kind of help with the job search. But it could also be, let's say somebody got injured in the workforce and is transitioning to a different skill set. We can sometimes help pay for trainings to get like a new certification, or to help transition to a new skill set. So it's kind of a everything under the sun, which is kind of the exciting part. You know, we can help take job seekers and help get them to the current industry standard for up-to-date certifications, and you know, bring them up to speed as far as what the other candidates are doing. So yeah.
Great, thank you. And Erica, please share what the Pikes Peak Workforce Center offers.
So we offer general training. So we do have workshops. So again, you'll see a lot of those common ones, how to interview, how to create a better resume. We actually even have Robin, I think, who's on this call right now, and she actually does federal resume writing, and how to search US jobs. They have LinkedIn workshops, and those are available to just the general public. We did actually start with the impact of COVID, we have the Upskill Pikes Peak, and that provides a ton of different free online trainings from Microsoft Office to email etiquette to even intro to cybersecurity. So again, just free training that's available to everybody throughout El Paso and Teller County. For individuals that are approved for our program services, they actually can utilize the approved training provider list, and that can be short-term certifications. It could be, you know, maybe a license. So we've seen anywhere from people getting their CNAs to their CDLs. And so that is available for people that do have that. For our young adults and for our adults, we also provide a work readiness series, and that's really focusing on soft skills that businesses are saying that people need. So those are usually about 3 to 4 day trainings where they're going to really focus on those soft skills. And then we are also able to provide people that go through our programs the opportunity to do internships or on the job learning. For our internships, those are paid for 360 hours. So it's definitely something really great to take advantage of. And then with our on-the-job training, it would be your employee, but then we help reimburse their wages as they're learning on the job, because we know it costs about $3,000 to onboard your average worker. So those are just some of the things that we can do and offer job seekers.
So you can see we have some great resources for job seekers, and at the university here, obviously it's more about the curriculum. So they're getting trained in their area, their major, whatever their area of emphasis is. So if you need a certain skill set, we'll talk about the skills you need and then determine which majors really align with those skill sets. And then for the job seekers, we do very similar to what the Pikes Peak Workforce Center and others have said, resume writing, interview prep, professionalism, basic professionalism. What does it look like? We also offer a lot of workshops and seminars throughout the year where students can get a glimpse into different career pathways and maybe what does it look like to be in real estate and what are the different career opportunities available there, or what does it look like to be in marketing and what are those job opportunities. So if any of you want to have any kind of career needs and you want to do a workshop with our students, we always love to have our employers come in and share their experiences and opportunities they have available to students kind of in that workshop format. So now we talked about what we offer to the job seekers. And so now we're going to shift and share with you the trainings that we offer for businesses and employers. And so I am going to go ahead and start with Ryan this time. So Ryan, would you like to share, please?
Yeah, thanks again. So we have 4 main trainings that we offer businesses: disability awareness training, a disability etiquette. We can consult on and do some general overview, not legal counsel, of course, but on the ADA, the American with Disabilities Act. And then the last one is a skills-based hiring, which is kind of a newer one, but it's a review of sort of how you do your job posting and how you do sort of promotional hiring and what that language looks like, and try to make it more equitable and objective. So those are the 4 big ones.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Erica, would you like to share the employer trainings, please?
So we partner with the state. So we give training for the work opportunity tax credit and federal bonding. So that's, again, just how you can utilize those for your business. We do also partner with Skillful for skill-based hiring and really looking at the skill-based hiring practice. It's a really huge thing and it's a huge state initiative. So we do workshops. So we actually do workshops on all 4 parts of the series. We also can do workshops for layoff strategies. And that was actually something, it's not the funnest thing to talk about, but we talk about, what work share programs are, how you can, do layoff aversion strategies, and just connecting to those different resources. And then we'll actually even do based on the company for their employees, that training. But the biggest thing that we've been doing and that I'm really proud of is we're the only workforce center in the whole entire state that utilizes the employee development grants. So within the last 8 months, we have done over $150,000 in grant funding for employers to upskill their current workforce. So the great thing with that is it's the employer's choice. You get to choose how you want to upskill your employees. So we've seen everything from fire mitigation certificates to ethical hacker certifications. So a lot of different businesses are taking advantage of that, and it's to upskill your current workforce. Again, it's meant to be just short-term training, but we are doing it twice a year going forward, but it's just a great way for you to help retain your current staff and upskill and to increase your profitability as a business.
Wow, thank you, Erica, and congratulations on that number. That's a big impact to our city. So thank you so much. Okay, Bob, let's move on to you. What do you offer businesses?
Yeah, so we have some parking lot ideas on trainings that we can do for employers. At the moment, our initiative's 1.5 years old. So right now, really what we have is an onboarding training, kind of an initial orientation. And primarily what's included there are the tools and resources that we have for employers to be able to work with our initiative, to work with our multiple school systems. We provide them resources and information around how they can help mentor young people, minors, what that looks like. So we have some steps and guidelines and best practices there. And then we also have best practices that we share with regard to sort of busting the myths of employing minor students in the workplace. trying to kind of break some barriers down to help minor students actually do training in the workplace, where employers might be somewhat misguided about what some OSHA work rules are and things of that sort. So that's really what we're trying to do in these onboardings, is inform our business partners how they can work with us, and then help empower them to speak into the lives of young people and help train young people.
Great, thank you, Bob. Mark, would you please share what you have to offer employers?
Yes, I would say that we don't have any formal trainings, but if any employers have questions about our population or interfacing with ComCor, please reach out to me, and I'm happy to walk through kind of more detailed information about what we do and the clients we serve. I would say to you, though, that if you employ one of our clients, you will not be, the client is not on their own, and you will not be on your own in terms of an employer as well, because like I mentioned earlier, we have a connection with the employer. We can provide those supports. Our case management team is available to the employer if there are some issues that come up, and we want to support our clients and ensure that they are successful with their employers out in the community, because that's what it's going to take to get them back on their feet. I would also mention that for businesses that employ our clients, there are federal tax benefits to that employment. And I think Erica mentioned that from the Workforce Center standpoint as well. So.
Great, thank you, Mark. And from the UCCS standpoint, we offer, it's more one-on-one support for our employers. So we are happy to help with crafting job descriptions. If you need help with that, we see a lot of small businesses specifically that might not have an actual HR department, and they need help and support with how do I craft a job description for an internship or a part-time position or full-time. We'll help with that. We also offer a lot of just best practices, as Bob had said, things that you should consider, especially when hiring interns. And maybe if you're looking at unpaid interns, what are the laws that you need to follow to align with an unpaid internship. And so just a lot of one-on-one education. So again, it's just more of a conversation with you and what your business goals are. And then we'll provide you the support and the training that you need to be able to work with us. And then we also we have an executive education program through the College of Business where we have open enrollment training programs, and then we have customized training programs for companies. So if you need your workforce trained in a specific area, whether it's leadership or cybersecurity, or you want some type of training for your employees, we will develop a custom training program to come in and help you with that to support your business. So just let me know what you need, and I'd be happy to work through that with you. Well, we have plenty of time to answer your questions today. Before we move into the Q&A, I just wanted to give you a quick update on how you can connect with us after this call. So Emma will be sending out a document that'll be a how to connect document, and it has all of our information and a little bit about who we are in our organizations, and then how you can engage with us. So that you will receive after the call today, and all of the panelists, I know any one of us would love to hear from you and start engaging with your company. So please utilize us as a resource and reach out to us for assistance. With that, we'll move on to Q&A. So I saw a couple questions come through the chat. I don't know, Emma, if you got any individually, but please keep your questions coming. And Emma, which question should we address first?
Yeah, the first question, and I think that Erica should probably answer it first, and then anyone else who has answers. With all of these amazing opportunities, programs for job seekers, is there anything to help convince and or outreach to try to help those that have given up on a job or career search?
I think sometimes you have to realize that people do get kind of resource fatigue. I mean, there's all this information and we kind of throw everything at them, and it's like, email this person, check out this website. I think it's really huge to actually still create some personal contact. So actually going in person, and I know COVID really kind of shook that up even more. But I think just meeting with somebody, meeting with a career counselor, meeting with somebody in one of those programs that can actually talk to the person, because we know there's jobs and we know that there's there's job seekers. So it's, again, how do we create matches? And I think sometimes you just need that human contact. So I think, I think everybody has different ways for clients to connect. So it's just encouraging them, and maybe even helping them take that extra step of helping them set up that appointment. Because sometimes it does get a little bit overwhelming when you hand somebody a sheet of information. They don't know necessarily where to start. So it's just doing that one small step to connect them with a resource.
Anybody else want to jump in and add anything to what Erica already said? Are other panelists? Okay, I think Erica hit that one on the head. So yeah, any other questions regarding that? Please, it sounds like Erica is probably the best person to help with that piece.
So the next question was to any panelist who has insight to answer this. How would you suggest going about hiring in the industry of insurance or any commission-based job for that matter? Our feedback has indicated that people are nervous about having an income completely based on their individual efforts and not a guaranteed paycheck.
Yeah, I'll hop in from a university perspective. We have several insurance companies that like to offer internships or job opportunities to our students while they're getting their degree, and they can kind of build their portfolio of work while they're working towards their degree as well. And our students are nervous about doing a commission only job. And so the firms that we have seen that have done this successfully, or that have been successful in hiring our students, they usually start by offering an hourly wage or some type of base salary, and then it can move into a commission role later. But it is, we have some students that will do commission only, some alumni that'll do it, but people like to have some type of guaranteed income when they're very first starting in these roles. Is any other panelists want to hop in and share your experiences with this?
I think the biggest thing is marketing and advertising, because again, if it is a career pathway, you really want to make sure you're highlighting the benefits of it, because it is very scary when it's all based on commission. But I think focusing on what are the benefits, and then kind of really reshaping along what are the skills that make people successful, because that sometimes helps people. But I think also having realistic expectations. I think if it's like you're going to make $1 million in like 2 months, that's not a realistic expectations. It's like, this is how many clients you needed to, talk to. This is kind of the benefit of it. You have more flexibility, because sometimes the flexibility in scheduling people will be more happy to take that position if it's just dollar amount, because we've seen people take lower paying positions because of the benefit, because of the schedule flexibilities, maybe the health insurance. So I think focusing on maybe some of the features that make those kind of more unique.
Yeah, I think that's great feedback too, Erica. Absolutely, we have some students that really love that flexibility. And I would also say if you can emphasize the support that people will receive during that role, because I think a lot of our students are concerned that they're going to jump into a commission-only role and they're going to be on their own and they're not going to have any support. So if you can have some type of mentor program or talk to them about the support that they're going to receive while they're trying to build their business or in that commission, then that can be very helpful and beneficial too. They don't want to feel like they get hired into a position and then it's completely on them without any support while they're going through the process. That is really scary if you're talking about students.
I'll add just real quick to that. I think also connecting, or at least on the job seeker side, connecting them to like informational interviews and informational sessions of people in that industry, so that they can share their concerns and say like, yes, when I first started, I was really intimidated by that. But, like everyone has said, there's great flexibility. There's scheduling. Like, we are a company, we're going to help train you so that you're not jumping off into nowhere. And just kind of helping to give some of those personal stories to help have the employees, speak about what it's like to be in an entirely commission-based setting. So.
And if you don't have an internship program, I would think that might be something that could be beneficial to you, because we do have some of our commission-only organizations that'll run a summer internship program so students can get a little bit of a taste of it without committing fully. But then at the end of that summer, we have one firm that'll hire 10 summer interns and kind of those commission roles. And then at the end of the summer, they'll offer full-time or part-time roles with the company. And, they usually have about 3 or 4 out of those 10 that are really excited about the industry and stay on. So that's a good way just to expose students and then really help find, the handful of students that are really going to be passionate about it and enjoy that type of work. So anytime you can give people a taste of the work, it would be helpful as well. Anybody else have anything to add with that question? About 8 minutes left. I know we have other questions to answer too. So I'll turn it back over to Emma.
Great. The next question is, with the growing complication of employing personnel, is there a way to avoid full employment requirements for a temporary training spot, such as summertime internships?
I guess I'm a little avoid full employment requirements. I guess I would have the question of what employment requirements are we talking about for a temporary? I mean, an intern cannot replace an employee, so you have to be careful about that. You can't create an internship where you actually have employees doing that same work. The law does not allow you to use an intern to replace an employee, so you have to be careful with that. But if you're doing a temporary, like if you need summer help and you want to make an internship program for the summer, that's absolutely something you can do. And we have a lot of employers that do that. And not just in the summer, like I'll tell you, our accounting firms, for example, they always need help during tax season. So several of the firms will hire interns just during that tax season. And an internship, it has to have a clear start date and an end date. So those temp kind of roles are really good for interns. Because you can just do it for that summer period or whatever period you need, but you cannot, replace or use interns to replace employees or do the same work that you would have employees doing. And Bob might have some insight on that too.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Yeah, absolutely. That is, I think that's called Rule 72. It's a kind of a wage and hour ruling from the Department of Labor that you don't want to displace an existing employee. Especially when you're hiring an intern, especially a minor intern that you might be working with at the high school level, you definitely also want to be cognizant of part of that rule that also talks about how the student must have a clear benefit from that training in order to qualify, perhaps as an unpaid internship, right? So we're not wanting to abuse labor to either displace existing employees or to not be fair to that unpaid intern. A unique solution that we came up with, and I hope this directly addresses that person's question. I mean, we understand that if you want to engage a talent development process with high school students that might be minors, and the internship duration is 60 hours, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for you to do a full onboarding of that student, right? For 60 hours. I think Erica said it costs $3,000 to onboard an employee or something like that. But so the carve out for that, or the potential solution for that, is to have a student come on as an unpaid intern, and you are able to give that student like a stipend if they successfully complete that experience. That system has been vetted through the wage and hour folks, CDLE. So long as the student gets a training benefit from that unpaid experience. So that might be a tip that you all can talk about if you'd like to wrap back with us after our session is over to talk about that particular process as well.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have a conversation, as Bob and I would be happy to have a conversation with you about what your needs are and what you're trying to do with that internship. And then we can identify any areas of concern. The other thing that I see with companies who are hiring interns that they might get in a little bit of a tricky situation is when, we get a lot of small businesses that'll come to us and say, I need a marketing intern because I have no idea what I'm doing with my small business marketing and I need someone to come in and do that for me. That is really a consultant that should be coming in and doing that work. An intern should have some type of mentor or someone who's able to work with them on their skill sets and help guide them as they're doing their work. So an intern should not be used in lieu of a consultant. Now, if you need that type of consultant work, we have faculty members who are happy to provide that, Or we can also make it a class project where the students are working with a faculty member who is a subject matter expert. And then that faculty member is guiding the students and helping them through their work. But an internship should have some type of mentorship component to it and shouldn't be used in lieu of a consultant. So that's another issue that I see with businesses, and I'll talk to them about it. But reach out to Bob or I would be happy to talk to you about your summer internship.
Okay, I'm going to do something a little unorthodox here. Before the last question, I wanted to ask, I know that there's a few other guests on this call who have creative workforce solutions. So if you're one of those companies, if you'd post in the chat your contact info and a sentence about your services, so some of the other employers on this call can know about you as well. Obviously, there's a lot of creative workforce solutions out there, and in this panel, some of them, but there's many more in this community, and we just want to help everybody get connected to the resources that they need. So while that's happening, and I apologize, panelists, as that's coming up as you guys are talking, but the last question is, do you have any resources or know of any that are geared towards career training for those interested in financial services like teller training?
Any panelists want to address that question? We don't have anything specific at UCCS for teller training. We do have a lot of students that work as tellers while they're going through our college of business, but we don't have anything specific to teller training. Does anyone else have a resource or something for?
Yeah, Megan, at the high school level, we are aware that End Federal Credit Union and Air Academy Federal Credit Union both have summer or actually school year based internships for high school students that meet certain requirements. So that's a training, a workforce training, paid internships for high school students in that lane. I also was introduced to a company up in the Denver area. It's a nonprofit organization named Mikasa. They're sort of a workforce solution up there, nonprofit entity that has worked with financial services to actually do exactly this. They've created some post-secondary certificates for people to get connected to that type of training and have some stackable certifications to help them qualify for entry-level positions as tellers and in banking institutions in the financial sector.
Anyone else? Erica? Yeah.
I was going to say there's also some good resources if you need customized training. So I know both UCCS and Pikes Peak Community College, if there's a need for training, you can always ask for a customized training. So that's always a great resource to tap into. One thing I will mention that we often talk about in-demand training certificates. So if you're not posting that you need a certain certificate on your job postings, that's actually what job seekers need to use. They need to show proof that employers need the certificate. So if you're not posting it on your job postings, a lot of times they can't justify why they need that. So if you know of any certification or any training that you need for industry, please make sure you include that, even if it's preferred, because then that will help people gain more access to that training.
Great. Well, we are exactly at 1 o'clock. So we are going to make sure that we end on time today, so all you lovely people can move about your day. Emma will be emailing out the list so you can engage and contact any of the panelists. We'd be happy to help you in any way. So thank you all so much for joining us today, and I look forward to hearing from you, and I'm sure our other panelists do as well. So have a great day.
I'm going to leave the event open for just 1 more minute so people can copy and paste anything that they need from the chat.
Okay. Well, let me know if you need anything, Emma, but thank you. It was good to spend the day with you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Megan. Thanks,
Thank
Erica.
you, Emma.